Tel Aviv.
Douglas County Sheriff Aaron Hansen is hailing the lengthy federal prison sentence handed down for a Fremont man. 63-year-old Brian Garges was sentenced last week to 29 years in prison for production and possession of child sexual abuse material. Today, Douglas County Sheriff Aaron Hansen called attention to his office's cooperation with the FBI. He said he is proud of everyone who worked tirelessly on the case, adding, quote, "Due to the overwhelming evidence that they gathered, Garges pled no contest in February to his state charge and received a sentence of 30 to 40 years in prison. Seamless cooperation with our partners in the FBI Omaha led to an additional conviction in federal court."